Hey, what's going on, Facebook friends, family, followers? This is Coach Sagasa. I'm underprivileged and blessed to be with each and every single one of you. Today on this beautiful Saturday, it is, yes, the 20th of March, and this year is flying by so quick, so fast. So I wanted to talk about personal branding. I'm going to be honest with you guys. A student asked me this a while back, and we just did a PowerPoint this week on personal branding and what that really means. Most people, they think about branding such as McDonald's, right? Or they think of Apple. You know, when you think of Apple, you think of a brand. You think of the apple, the bitten apple. And then when you think about the slogan, again, it's think different. And one of the things that I love about the Apple product, again, I'm not taking anything away from Samsung or anybody else. No disrespect. Today's actual message to you is about personal branding and what that looks like. You see, what a lot of people don't understand, especially a lot of kids today, and that's why I did this particular live, but also a PowerPoint this week in my leadership class on personal branding, is because kids are growing up in again, let's face it, technological world. Okay, it's the 21st century. They're in a technological world where they see everything on mainstream media, social media, more so social media than mainstream media. So what does that look like? Well, let's get into personal branding. Okay, because again, history, let me just break it down to you. History says in 1997, yes, right when I was getting ready to graduate is when technology started exploding, expanding. And so personal branding became one of those things. Again, of course, branding business-wise was long before that. But as far as the personal brand goes, it started, I guess you want to say, evolving. The evolution of personal branding started taking place. Remember this quote, again, William Adler said, personal branding is not about being famous. It's about being selectively famous. One more time, it's about being selective. And I want to highlight that area because selectively branding or selectively famous. I expressed this to a group of students this week that personal branding is you yourself. And as William Adler mentioned, personal branding is not about being famous. It's about being selectively famous. You're selective. And directing this message to a lot of youth today, especially in my community and beyond, as well as adults, when you're branding you make up, not your parents, not your teachers, not anybody else, you specifically. Right now I'm sitting here in a parking lot waiting on my son. He's getting a fade, he's getting his hair did, and getting his hair cut. And I wanted to share this message yesterday, but didn't get the time to do it. Personal branding is very important to every young adult today. Again, it's like character. It's like your character. It's like your image. And as I pointed out in our PowerPoint this week at Desert Star Academy in my leadership class, that personal branding is the image that everyone sees. When you fill out a resume, that's what everyone sees. And of course, anybody can lie on the resume. It's when you actually get in front to do the work ethics is when you look bad. So you got to be very careful on how you brand yourself, even on your resume, on your application, years of experience, the years of lessons. So getting back deeper into the personal branding, I want to share this question, because I gave this question to all my students this week. Okay, are you guys ready? So I gave this question to my students this week. I said, what do you have in common with Donald Trump, Oprah Winfrey, or Kim Kardashian? 3 individuals or 3 areas. Again, I speak a lot about, I'm very passionate about leadership. And yes, for those who know me, I educate myself on a daily basis, Monday through Friday, in the field of leadership. And we have a wonderful array of books, very wide, as deep as the ocean when it comes to genuine leadership, autobiographies, and so forth in our home. And I've taken seminars, I've taken classes. In fact, over the pandemic or the plandemic, whatever you want to call it, I took some classes at Yale, took some classes on Coursera, had a wonderful time exhibiting some of this information, this content, this material with my students at Desert Star Academy. But I asked this question this week in our PowerPoint. I said, what do you have in common with Donald Trump, Oprah Winfrey, or Kim Kardashian? Now, I could have went on a tangent on other individuals, but I chose these three. After all said and done, after surveying and observing my scholars, my students, the number of participants, engagement of who had anything in common was literally 5. Now, so I'm asking you, the viewer, in my community and beyond, what do you have in common with Donald Trump? What do you have in common with Oprah Winfrey? What do you have in common with Kim Kardashian? They're all leaders. I know, again, you might say, how is Kim Kardashian a leader? She influences. She influences individuals just like Carly B influences individuals when she's doing the WAP on a pole, right? They're influencers. So, again, speaking on leadership, giving you guys, again, real talk, personal branding, what do you have in common with them? A great question you ought to ask yourself. Now, for me, I'll give you an example. For me, I have a lot to do in common with, 45, our president, Donald Trump. He rises and grinds at 4 a.m. I like to get up at 3 a.m. Now, of course, my mentor, my teacher, Dr. Eric Thomas, always said 3 a.m., you got to be on that grind, 3 a.m. So I took that serious. And so I started getting up at 3 a.m. 5 years ago. And it has done a wonderful honor in my home as well as in my life, waking up at 3 a.m. because it allows me, again, to govern my time management, my life management around educating myself in my field. That's what I have in common with Donald Trump. Outside of that, Oprah Winfrey. She has a massive, thick vocabulary. She has a thick, wonderful library of information, content. In fact, you could even pay right now to join her book club and you'll get those personal emails, those personal invitations. She'll send you recommendations for different books. So again, that's what I have in common with these two individuals. Now, when it comes to leadership, those two powerful people are genuine leaders. Kim Kardashian, she's a different type of leader, but she is a leader. I don't have anything in common with Kim Kardashian. Nothing in common with those individuals, okay? I do have something in common with Oprah Winfrey as well as Donald Trump. Again, I asked this question to my students and now I'm asking you a question because that is a great question to ask, okay? I know that your brand conveys a message. It conveys a message. So when people see me, they're like, hey, Coach Sagasta, Coaching Beyond. He's the one that wears the Kaizen. I'm the one that wears the Kaizen shirt, which means continuous improvement. It's a business philosophy, okay? Or they hear Coach Sagasta and they're like, oh, that's Coach Sagasta from Desert Star Academy, okay? Or Bullhead City. And that's cool. That's great. I don't have no problem with that. Again, your brand conveys your message and who it's targeted to. So everyone knows Coach Sagasta as, again, a leader, an educational leader at Desert Star Academy, a keynote speaker. Yes, speaker, because if anything, if you've actually studied speaking, if you've ever taken any classes online or been to seminars and have studied and have educated yourself, you understand. And if you've been watching me long enough, you absolutely understand that I have not used any fillers thus far. And for those that don't know what a filler is, and but, like, so, or an explicit word, that's a filler. I know exactly where I'm going. I'm conveying and I'm using you got to know how, again, I'm going to share this one book with you. If you really want to get to the top, and not by Zig Ziglar, if you really want to get to the top in your speaking game, you're going to educate yourself. You're going to find seminars. You're going to find classes to up your game, up your level, up your skills. Sharpen your mind, you'll shape your future. But this particular book, The Quick and Easy Way of Effective Speaking by Dale Carnegie, is one of the greatest books you ever want to add to your library. You heard me. I won't. You can go back and replay and watch again. So, one more time. Your brand conveys your message. Even a business. So your business. But we're speaking today only about personal branding. Personal branding. Your brand defines your value and the benefits you bring to the table. One more time. Your brand conveys or is defined by your value and beliefs you bring to the table. Very simple. You see, a lot of people don't understand that when it comes to personal branding. They don't understand that your brand defines. It's defined by what your value is in life as well as your beliefs. Very simple. I'm not moved by anybody else today. As much as, again, I admire my mentor, my teacher, my Dr. Eric Thomas, I am not hanging on the belt loop. I'm not on the umbilical cord. Okay? Again, your brand defines you. I don't want to be associated with a brand that's a bad brand. You heard me. You should never, as a young adult in America, or around the globe, wherever you're watching me from, or in my community, I'm specifically I'm talking to the kids in my community right now, the youth, ages 12 through 25, 30. And the reason why I'm targeting you right now, and I know that sounds kind of cliche when you say targeting, but the reason I'm speaking to you is because you're entering a world. You're entering a world, if you're not already in the world right now, that again, you must sharpen the mind to shape your future. Personal branding is very, very important because it is your character. It is everything that you put on your resume. It is everything that you speak, you dress, and you look like. So again, your brand conveys the message. Your brand conveys the message to your audience. You see, everyone calls me Coach Sagasta, or they say coach, because I've been in the field for 15 years. Been doing this, coaching sports. 1997 is when I got involved in coaching sports. It was in 1997. And then gradually just migrated into different sports, primarily football, softball, basketball, baseball. But now it is geared toward mentoring in sports and coaching young lives toward being successful. And defining success, of course, is a personal thing. My definition for success is very different than anybody else's. Your brand conveys your message. Your brand. It conveys your message. What you wear, what you say, how you speak, how you say it, the way you dress, conveys your message. Okay, very simple. I hope you guys are taking notes. Okay, because again, I wanted to spend this time while my son's getting a haircut. A wonderful time to do an actual live with you guys because I missed yesterday. Wasn't able to be in the studio, so I wanted to definitely share this with you guys. I shared it with my class this week, and I want to share it with you. All right, so we're gonna get into 5 key elements that I have learned in personal branding. And yes, I learned this from being a part of the Maxwell team. I learned this being a part of the Grant Cardone team. I learned this being a part of the Eric Thomas team. I learned this just recently when I was a part of Brandon Burchard and Tony Robbins' team. You'll understand when I'm saying this. Number 1, 5 elements. I'm going to give you guys 5 elements. Here we go. Number 1, be authentic. Be authentic. I know that in this time right now with cancel culture and everything else, it's hard to be authentic. Everybody's got to be somebody else. Everybody's got to be compared to somebody else. Be authentic. Be you. Be very real. In fact, Dr. Eric Thomas has an online university. It's called Be You. I have a shirt. It says Be You. So be you. Be authentic. Be very genuine. Number two, be consistent. Be very consistent. Your brand is everything. Your brand, your personal brand, not your business brand. Though everything that you represent, again, I told you earlier, everything you say conveys into your message. So everything you say, everything you do, everywhere you're at conveys the message. So number 2, be consistent. Be very consistent. It's important. I cannot stress that enough. Consistency is a wonderful key. Number 3, be committed. So you got consistency, but now be committed. That's number 3. Be committed to your personal brand. You represent you. Nobody else represents you unless you're allowing other people to represent you. And if they do, like I express this a lot with my athletes. Every time you put on the uniform, you represent the school. Every time you're with me, you represent me. Every time that you're, again, with the school group or organization or program, you represent the program. So if you act like a fool, if you speak like a fool, then guess what you are? A fool. You see what I'm saying? Now I hope that really hits home for a lot of people. That is conveying the message. So you have to be committed. You have to be committed toward change, toward a brand called you. Number four, be creditable. You heard me. Be creditable. That means you have to be creditable. When people look at your application, when people see your resume, when people get the opportunity to shake your hand, you're creditable. Oh, that's Coach Frank Sagasa with Desert Star Academy. Oh, that's Coach Frank Sagasa. He's been married for so many years. Oh, that's Coach Frank Sagasa. He's so committed. He's loyal. Again, I'm not saying this to impress you by any means. And again, I'm speaking to you, the audience. Be creditable. Here's a prime example. I just recently purchased a car. I won't say the name of where I got the car, but I can tell you right now, I won't go back there ever again. They now have lost a wonderful client. They lost that. And in fact, they lost 2 because I was getting ready to bring my son in to purchase a car with that dealership. Be creditable. It's important. You feel me? It's important. So your personal brand, be creditable. When people say, hey, I just gave, Alex the opportunity to come aboard and to share her skills, or I gave Jim the opportunity to come aboard and he was a flake. Never showed up to work. He was always late. Be creditable. He lied on his application. He really didn't have any skills or talents, no experience. Be creditable. And last but not least, this one's very simple. Last but not least, I gave you be authentic, be consistent, be committed, be creditable, and last but not least, be communable. Be able to communicate. Be able to communicate. Be able to convey and to speak to people. People don't listen straight up. You know what? I'm going to give you 6. I'm going to share 6 key elements. But what I just said right now, be communable. Be communable is being able to communicate with everybody on the team, organization, people that you meet. If you don't know how, I recommend taking classes online, finding a class at your local community college, buying books, joining network. I mean, if it's Rotary, if it's Kiwanis, if it's some type of club or organization, join them. Learn to speak. It'll give you also this capability. I'm going to share this last one. It's called attitude. You heard me. Attitude. You see, we work around a lot of people today. We walk around people who have a different type of attitude. I'm serious. Like armpits. Everyone has them and they stink. Some people have them and they smell good. So, again, number 1, be authentic. Number 2, be consistent. Number 3, be committed. Number 4, be creditable. Number 5, be communable. Number 6, have a positive mental attitude. It's that simple. It really is, okay? Again, I wanted to share these things with you because it's very important. So your value derives, who you are. Your value derives from multiple elements. You heard me. Your value. We're talking about personal branding. For everyone that's watching, everyone that gets to share, and again, I'd recommend that you share this because if you don't want to accept it, I hope that there's somebody in your circle that will accept it, because everything I'm sharing is everything I share with my students just this week. I hope you're ready. I hope you brought a pencil and a pen and you grabbed some notes. So number one, your value is derived by multiple elements that include your accomplishment, your education, your skill set, your talents, your experience. One more time. I'm going to say this slow. Your value in who you are, what you bring to the table for any business, for any program, for any team, for any organization. Your accomplishments, what you accomplish. And if you come out with some hell over high water, simple-minded answer, I got straight A's. Okay, that's a personal accomplishment. Here's my clap to that. No disrespect. Here's my clap to that. I'm not jealous by any means. Accomplishments such as you were recognized by the mayor for doing something good in your community. That's a wonderful accomplishment. You got your associate's degree or your master's degree or your bachelor's degree. That's an accomplishment. You finished first at some type of organization or program. You got a certificate of achievement for some thing that you did in the community or beyond or whatever. That's an accomplishment. Okay? That's an accomplishment. Number two, your education. Education, as one of the great Albert Einstein says, has a beginning and no end. Education has a beginning and no end. I have learned to clean up my vocabulary. That's good. That's very good. I love it. Yeah, I can definitely say the same thing. However, I have learned this throughout the years is if I decide to use an explicit word, I'm going to use it with a passion and expression. Okay, one more time. I'm going to use it passionately with an expression. Example, and I know I don't want to get off the subject, but and this could be an accomplishment, just like Ms. David just put. Very simple. You get to a stage, and I've been again in this particular field for quite a while now. You get to a stage where you're able to really catch everything you're going to say before you say it. You think before you speak. You think before you act. That's hard to do for a lot of people today. And in the past. Moving forward. So what I'm saying, here's an example. If I'm passionate about football and I'm in a huddle and I happen to use an explicit F-bomb, there's a passion behind that. Not that it's okay, because again, there's a lot of people say, well, you should never say that. Not that it's okay, and I'm not giving praise that it's okay, but an understanding why he said it. There's a difference. Again, when you get to the arena of understanding, things become so much clearer. When you get to the point of understanding, you have more defined way of deriving to that point. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense to a lot of you, okay? I love that you speak the truth no matter what. Thank you, Ms. Dave. I appreciate it. All right, so moving forward, I gotta get back to this because I gotta get out of here shortly. My son's gonna be coming out of there. Your value is derived from multiple elements. I gave you one, your accomplishments. Number two is your education. Education. Just because the libraries are closed doesn't mean that you stop getting books. We have 2 bookstores in our community. 2. Okay, that's it. 2, that's it. 2 bookstores. And one I'm going to actually stop by on the way home right now. Sarah, I love you, but I want to stop by this one. I haven't been in a long time. So we have 2. Plus the Boys and Girls Club, who also has books. Now, I just recently broke my promise this year. This year I broke my promise. I wasn't supposed to buy any books this year. Wasn't supposed to buy any books, information, no knowledge for my home. But I broke down and I got some. I say all that to say this. Education has a beginning and no end. Never stop learning. Never stop educating yourself. Never stop finding classes. There are classes, and I pointed this out to my students this week. My wife and I took some classes at our community college for financial literacy. We also took I took some other classes online. Never stop educating yourself. If you want to be more experienced, if you want to be sharpened, if you want to be recognized in any degree of intelligence, you'll sharpen your mind. It'll shape your future. If you want to be valued, you will educate yourself on a daily basis. Do you understand how hard that is to express that, to teach that, to coach that, to preach that, to mentor that, to tell that or to share that with students today? If it doesn't come from TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, they shut it off. Again, you ask me why? Some of that why comes from their parents. If their parents don't pay enough attention or push information in front of them, they can give two shits, excuse my French, but they can give two shits about knowledge, about information, about sharpening their skills, straight up, hands down. Number 3 was skill set. Skill set is what I just shared with you earlier about speaking. You find classes. That's education, but also your skill set. You say, I want to be a better typist. So you sharpen that. You take different classes and you sharpen your skills, or you do it at home. You want to become a better writer, whether it's traditional writing with a pencil and a pen, or it's typing, but you do it on a daily basis or on a weekly basis. That's how you sharpen that skill. You want to be a better cook. Then you get your butt in the kitchen and you cook. You want to be better at mechanics. Then you find classes or you gear yourself to become sharper in that area. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. All right, number 4, your talent. Everybody on earth was born with a talent. And as I expressed this to my scholars this week, sometimes we are unaware of that talent because we are not open-minded toward finding those talents. Did you hear what I said? Oftentimes, humanity never finds their talent. Now, again, you can look at the NBA, you can look at the NFL, you can look at all kinds of different arenas, and that's okay. Some people go, again, a great array of the masses step into fields such as sports, such as entertainment, and they find their talent, and they become very exquisite at it. There are other people who are drifters. They just drift through life. They don't want to educate themselves. They don't want to get any more education. They don't want to sharpen their skills, so they just drift through life. They just settle for the monotony of life. And that's where a lot of people spend their time today. So talent. Talent is something you're born with. Beethoven found his talent at the age of 6 years old and went on and created a wonderful legacy. And we can go down the list of other individuals that are in my mind of people who found their talent. The last but not least is your experience. Experience. I can honestly say that my son Andrew doesn't have that much experience when it comes to the work life. However, my son Isaac has experience in the workforce. My son Andrew, not so much. He's been in education. He's been working on his talent, sharpening his skill for playing music. You see what I'm saying? They're two different people. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with, that at all. There really isn't. And I want you guys to understand that. There's nothing wrong with that. If you think that you want to be a music artist, fine. Spend more time. Spend about 20 minutes to an hour every single day working on sharpening your skill. If you want to, and I said this earlier, if you want to become a better typist, then you'll sharpen your skill and you'll work on it on a daily basis. The reason why I speak so passionately about certain subjects is because I spend countless hours, weeks, months, years within that arena. So when it came to speaking, I wake up at 3 a.m. I spend a lot of time on learning how to properly speak. I listen to a lot of individuals who are speakers, renowned speakers, whether it's joining the Tony Robbins seminars or paying the money to join different classes. Again, you sharpen the skill. So experience comes by, again, stepping in and practicing. And that's what I tell a lot of athletes as well. You'll never become better if you don't step into practicing it. And it's just like a diet. You'll never lose all the weight if you don't experience a different type of diet that fits your body. That fits your body. That's what it comes down to. I hope that makes sense for a lot of people, because I want to definitely make sure that everything that I'm conveying to you right now not only makes sense, but also that you're taking note of this information. Because I just shared this week with the PowerPoint for my students. And a lot of them are between the grades of 6th through 8th grade. And so a lot of people today are between 6th and in life, adults. So I hope that everything that I shared with you right now definitely helps. All right, when it comes to personal branding, you want this one. And this one is very important. I'm going to share 5. I like the number 5 because there's 5 members in our home. There's me, my wife Sarah, Isaac, Andrew, and Delina. There's 5, so I like that number. Communicate your brand. Again, I've been sharing a lot of things that I have learned over the years about personal branding. Communicate your brand. How do you communicate your brand? I said this earlier, in your resume. Your resume speaks volume. Students, scholars of the world, students of life. Your resume says a lot about you. Your resume does. Just like, and I'm going to get into this here shortly. Actually, I'm going to save it. I'm going to say this one. Again, I hope that you guys share this particular live, because it's very important. As an educational leader, it's important to, again, share experience, share some tips, advantages, strategies with the world. Here we go. Number 1 was your resume. Number 2 is very simple. Your interview. When a business organization or program or anyone you meet looks at your resume, again, let's just personal branding. This is your resume. This right here, person you see the person you see in the mirror is your resume. Personal branding. When you fill out a resume, people, you want to be, and I said this earlier, authentic with what you're sharing on that resume. Number 2 was interviewing. When you sit in a room with 1, 5, 10, 20, a whole board, your interview is very important. It's a personal brand. You represent you, nobody else. So you interview. You communicate your brand by how you come to the interview. So like right now I'm sitting in my car talking to you, expressing and sharing tips, strategies, you name it, of what I share with my students. Now, I could be in a suit, 3-piece suit, or just a tie, but I represent me. So the hat backwards, the glasses that I now have to wear at the age of 41, I share with you. This is my brand. I am who I am. I'm Coach Frank Sagasa. Honor, privilege, and blessed to be with each and every single one of you, chiming in and doing a live from Arizona, Bullhead City, Arizona to be exact. And I hope that you share and enjoy this live today, because there's going to be more like it. Every Friday, unfortunately, this Friday I didn't have enough time. So number 2, your interview. Number three, your networking. Number 3, very simple. You ready? This is the last hit, and I got to get out of here. I was going to give you guys 5. Well, all right. Number 1 was resume. Number 2 was interview. Number 3 was networking. Number 4 is emailing. You got to be able to email. Communicate your brand by emailing. You got to be able to email people. I really cannot fathom this particular area, because it is very important. Emailing is key. If you don't know how to email, you better take some classes. You better look it up on YouTube. You better look at those tutorials. I'm saying straight up from the coach's mouth, one-on-one. It's important. Last but not least, the most important thing that I'm going to share with you right now when it comes to communicating your brand, your personal brand, is social media. Yes. Everyone that is watching right now, your social media, especially you young adults, your social media follows you everywhere you go. Be careful. Be very careful. Be vigilant. Be conscientious about what you like, what you heart, and what you share with other people. It's important, because when you go into a business, Fortune 500 company, they look to see what type of person they're bringing in. Again, you're communicating a brand called you. So you have to be very careful on what you post. Me, being that I'm affiliated with the community, I share coming from the heart and mind what I see as a leader. I don't speak personally, I speak from principle. I share from principles. I share value. Again, that's a personal brand. When people see Coach Sagasta, they represent that to Coaching Beyond. I coach beyond the classroom, beyond the football field, beyond the court, beyond, again, that arena called education outside. So spreading it beyond. Does that make sense? So I wanted to share this live with you guys. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. There was a lot of information I shared with each and every single one of you. Okay, my name is Coach Frank Sagasa. Honored, privileged, and blessed to be with each and every single one of you today, March 20th, from Bullhead City, Arizona, the great state, the beautiful sunny state. It's gorgeous here right now. So I will see you guys next Friday, Lord willing, if the creek don't rise, or if something comes up in mind, or if you have any comments, feedback you would like to share with me, please either email them or private message. All right, I love you guys. Be blessed. Have a great and beautiful day. Make it a masterpiece. I'm out.